Welcome, Lincoln Military Housing families, to our Arts for Learning Night. In October 2009, Lincoln Military Housing and Arts for Learning San Diego began a collaboration called the Military Arts Connection. Throughout the year, programs are offered that include dinner, a 30-minute performance, and a 50-minute hands-on activity presented by professional artists from Arts for Learning. Arts for Learning has been dedicated to advocating and providing arts education through a wide range of programs in music, dance, theater, storytelling, and visual arts. Due to the current pandemic, Lincoln Military Housing and Arts for Learning are partnering to bring art right into your home to enjoy as a family. Please enjoy today's visual art lesson called American Flag Tear Art Collage by Stacy Green. Today's art is a hands-on demonstration, so please take a moment to gather some craft supplies and join us when you are ready.
Hello, I'm Stacy Green. I'm a teaching artist with Arts for Learning, and I'm excited to come here today to show you guys how to make an American flag out of torn paper. It's a torn paper collage, and I'm going to walk you through the steps on how to create this with things that you have at home. So you'll need a piece of paper, you'll need something to make marks with, a pencil or whatever you have at home, a straight edge of some kind. It can be a ruler or it can just be a piece of cardboard, whatever you have that's straight, and a glue stick or two. And again, if you don't have any glue sticks at home, if you have Elmer's glue, that'll work too. It just makes it a little more buckly. And then what you're going to need is some magazines and advertisements. This is going to be your color palette. So I'm going to walk you through the steps on how to do this. So the first thing I'm going to do when I get my magazines is I'm looking for my colors, the red, white, and blue. White is really easy to find, so that's not the hardest one. So try not to read all the articles as you're going through, but just really look for colors that are close to the colors that you need. So I'm just going to flip through until I see, see here's some blue. So I'm just going to pull that, just tear that paper out. We don't need to spend a lot of time being fussy right now. So you're just looking for your colors. And they're not going to be perfect. Ooh, this one also has, look at all these great blues in this one. That's a good one too. I'm going to pull that one out too. So when you have your colors that you need, I will show you the next step. And again, if you don't have a lot of stuff at home, and if you want to do this over a week as things come in, then that's great too. You've got time. So let me show you how this is done. So now that we have all of our materials that we need, we're going to start by drawing the flag so we know where to put each of our color fields. So I'm going to start by drawing the horizontal stripes. There's 13 of them representing each of the 13 colonies. If you want to be really precise and you have a ruler, you can do the measurements and divide it by 13, go for it. I'm just going to eyeball it, so I'll show you how to do that. And I noticed that when I was making mine that if I do this with my fingers, it was about the right size. So I'm going to start by putting my fingers here, and it's right here by my thumb, so I'm going to do this. And I'm going to line up the edge. If you have a straight edge that has a right angle, it's really useful, because I can just line up that edge with the edge of the paper so I know that I'm nice and parallel. And I'm just going to go from top to bottom, drawing my 13 stripes. Okay. I know that there's a blue rectangle there, but we're going to come back to that. Okay, so. Okay. And I'm just going to keep going until I get to the bottom. And it's super important that we get them, all 13 of those in there. So just keep going along, drawing my horizontal lines, making sure they're checking my parallel every time. So, and if you go just a little bit askew, or if you have a little oopsie along the way, we're not going to really worry about it, because the whole entire thing's going to be covered up with torn paper in the end. So you're not going to see these when you're done. So don't worry if you have a little mess up or a little mistake. We're not going to stress over that. It's going to go away. Okay, so this is my little trick with my fingers here. keeping going. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Since there's 13 of them, we gotta be really careful. Okay. And I'll get to the end here. Okay. And if they're not perfectly, like, oh, one's a little bit smaller, one's a little bit lower, we'll adjust for that when we're making our paper. We just want to make sure we know where those fields, those color fields are. Okay, let's see if I dot it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Yay! Okay, so now I can make my blue square or rectangle. And so I'm going to go put my ruler back up here, and if you don't have a ruler and you have a straight edge, that's fine too. We're just going to kind of eyeball around a little bit over, a little bit under halfway. So I think I'm thinking that's about there. One thing we do know is that the blue field goes 7 stripes down. So I'm going to go down 7 stripes. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there should be 6 stripes below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you got it. So I know I'm going to go to this stripe down here. And again, I'm going to line my ruler up with the top so I get a nice parallel line to this edge of the paper for my rectangle. And just like that, I know that this, and I'm just going to make a little X here. X marks the spot of where all that blue is going to go. Just like that. Okay, so now we have our flag. And again, since we're going to be covering this all with blue, it doesn't really matter. So let's start filling that in. I'm going to fill in the whole blue section first, and then do the stars on top, because it's just easier to do this that way. So I'm going to take this nice pretty blue that I got here. And these doves are really nice on here. I don't know if I can actually make them into stars or not, but that would be really fun. You will notice that you have these nice straight edges on the edge of the paper. Those are really great for these corners and these straight edges. So I'm going to pull that out. I decided I really like this one. You're not going to get blues up. You're not going to be able to fill the whole page with one blue one. But you notice I'm tearing against my thumb. I'm holding it. I'm just pinching it here. And I'm tearing them. And I'm tearing pieces that are about thumb size. It's a good rule of thumb just to make them around thumb size. And so I'm going to tear these up. And you notice I'm keeping those edges nice and straight so that I can create these edges with them. Okay, looks like, and I'm going to tear around these birds here. I'm going to tear a big chunk out of this one, and then I'm going to just tear it in half, just like so. Okay, and when I have enough pieces of paper, okay, I'm going to lift these up. I don't know if I can, see if I can go around this bird here. He might make a nice star eventually. And so when I'm trying to cut around something, you see I put my thumb on one side of it, and then I just tear against it like this. This way you can get a little more precise if you want to be. Okay, and I'm going to leave him over there, or her. Don't know what the gender of that one is. And I'm just going to keep doing that. Okay, so I have a pretty good pile of blue right now, and I have my straight edges, and I don't want to lose those. So what I'm going to do is the best thing to do is actually just put a little glue on the bottom, on the paper, like so. This is actually it makes it a little faster to do if you put the glue down on the substrate first. And I'm going to see I have that nice corner. So I'm going to use that corner for this one. And then I'm just going to start stacking them up. It's really important that you overlap the pieces as you go. Oh, and then check, I'm going to make my little straighter here. So I'm lining them up and overlapping. Overlapping is really important. But you see, I can put a lot of pieces down really quickly because I put that glue down first. All right, I ran out of don't put too much glue. Don't cover too much of a section with your glue though, because the glue will dry before you're done. So you just want to do a little section at a time. And see how much faster I can go that way? Okay, so get that in there. Oh, this one didn't have enough glue, so I'm just going to switch it over there. No big deal. And line that that up. Okay, so see how I'm making those edges first? Oh, so I have a center part that I just did, so I'm going to fill in that center. And see how I'm making sure to overlap so we don't have any of that white paper and those stripes. And see how my stripes and all those things underneath that we drew are just disappearing, which is why it's like, don't worry if you make a little mistake as you're going along, or if you have to redraw your stripes, whatever, don't worry about it. You're going to cover it up. All right, I'm going to keep going along this side. Okay, just doing one section at a time, gluing it down. Okay, like so. Okay, keep going here. So now I'm getting those center pieces. Okay, get that in there. And, you know, and the other nice thing about putting the glue on the bottom and not trying to glue each one as you go is that you tend to get less glue on your fingers. I need some more glue for this side, so I'm going to go ahead and rip this out. I'm going to rip around my bird again. Okay. Oh, straighten that out a little bit. Okay, this one's the glue kind of dirt. Oh, I have another edge here. I'm not going to be so fussy about this edge because we're going to be putting the red on that side and the white, so I'm not going to be that fussy about that side so much. Oh, I need another edge piece right here. Because we can, since we're overlapping, I can cover this bit with the red as I come along. So just worrying about filling in that whole color field with the blue. Oops. Okay, that's gonna happen too. Just put it back on. Okay, they're not all set yet, so we won't worry about that. Okay, just put a little piece there. And see, I'm ripping them up into different sizes, but again, the thumb size is the best. You know, if you can find a piece of sky in your magazines, they really do work really well for the blue. If you don't find it, don't worry about it. You might have one that are different colors. In my example, I have multiple colors of blue. It works too. That one's too big, so I'm going to rip it in half. You really want to have that texture and the mosaic-y look that comes with that. And if you make them too big, you lose that. And we don't want to lose that. Okay. And here we go. All right, so I have my edges done. So now I'm gonna, I'll just go ahead and put this one down here because we'll want a straight edge down here anyway. And since I have a little one, again, it's not really that important because we are gonna cover it up again. Okay, so I'm gonna try and quickly finish off this section here for you. Okay, remember, don't glue too much at a time unless you're gonna be really, really fast at it. I'm getting some more blue. Some people like to just tear as they go. Some people like to tear it all up in the first place. Either one works, whatever's comfortable for you. But just be careful that you don't lose any of your pieces if you do it that way. And the glue sticks do run out quickly, so that's why it's good to have multiple ones around. And again, if you have Elmer's glue at home, you can do that too. They both work. But again, you just want to glue little sections at a time. And depending on how fast you are ripping, oh, I ripped that guy's wing off, but that's okay. Actually, I'm just gonna let him be a part of the piece right now. Again, we're gonna be coloring those up with stars, so it really doesn't matter. And I have a feeling they might be a little too big for the stars eventually, but they would be fun. Because this is a artwork. So in the interest of time, I went ahead and filled in the rest of the blue field, and I got started on my stars, on my stripes. So you notice that I did the 2 red stripes first. I did that for a reason, and the red stripes kind of the same idea as we did with the blue. I just used the edge of the paper to make the straight edges, and on the sides and on the corners. And the reason I did the first 2 red stripes first is because magazines have a lot of white edges to them. There's an abundance of white and they're all nice and crisp like this. So you can use those to clean up those red stripes. So see how I made the red stripes? I wasn't really worried about making them perfectly straight. I wasn't worried about breaking that line. I know we spent a lot of time making those beautiful parallel lines, but we still know that they're there. And I'm going to glue it down. So this is sometimes will happen to you because if the glue didn't stick right away, and they're not set up. So don't worry about it if that happens. It totally will. Just stick it back down again. And now I'm going to rip off the corner. And again, see I have this nice crisp right angle corner just like we did with the blue. And I can just clean up that blue edge as well as make a nice crisp edge on the red, just like that. So I'm going to use these edges. They're very helpful. And that one might be a little too big again, so I'm just going to rip it a little bit. Get that nice edge. Try and clean that up a little bit. And see how much easier that makes it? Get a little glue down. Remember, just glue a little bit at a time because that glue dries, and that's probably what happened to me here, is I probably put too much glue down and I didn't get there fast enough. So that's why it's really important. Remember, I'm still overlapping in this edge here. All right, so I'm going to keep going with that and then tear. And I can clean up a little bit there, but I need a little edge again, so I'm going to go back to the edge here. And I'm going to put that down. And you can see how I'm really cleaning up those lines and still keeping my space by using the edges of the paper. They're super helpful. And rip off a big chunk this time. But you're going to have to tear it into smaller pieces. Oops, see I got a little one that's flopping up. I put a little more glue there. That overlapping is good, but sometimes the glue doesn't quite make it, so it's good to keep an eye on those floppies because they do tend to fall off. Okay, and see I can just cover right up over the top of that guy and he just disappears. Need a little more glue on that side. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so when you're putting glue down, it's kind of nice to overlap the glue as well, just for that particular reason. And it does happen quite often. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. So the blue and the red and the white, they kind of have similar techniques. We're tearing, we're overlapping, but we're also using those edges to create straight lines. And you can also help to keep it straight. So, and then I have a little, see how I have a little gap here in the middle? So I'm just going to rip a little bit off this side and stick that in just to clean up that middle section, like so. And I'm going to keep going all the way across. Okay, now I'm going to be looking for this one has some good, I get a little bit of edge here, but I'm going to go ahead and try and find another corner somewhere once I get to the end, just so I can make that nice right angle at the bottom. Okay, let me put this one here. Oh, see, and I'm doing the rip as I go technique now, but see how that didn't overlap and you can see the little red peeking through? That's why it's really super important to overlap. And it looks like I'm missing a spot here, so let me grab a little bit for that. And those are the little things to keep in mind and to look for as you're going along. Okay. Okay, like that. All right. Let me find, so now I'm going to find another piece of paper, maybe over here, because this one has some corners on it, which is awesome. We like those corners for those ends here. Okay, I got a little slight here. Get that guy on there. Yeah, nice. All right, Okay, so now I have another corner on this side, so I can finish off that edge here, and see how now I just smoothed out all those red spots, all that bumpy red, and made these nice crisp lines. So that's why when you're doing your stripes, you want to go red, red, and then white. Red, red, then white. Oops, and that one's got a little black on it, so we don't want to use that guy. Let me find a different one. Okay. So I did red, white, red, and so now I'm going to do my red one down here before I do the white one here, before I do this white one, just like we did here. Just so that you can see how that makes a big difference out of cleaning up those lines, because you saw how raggedy it was and now how smooth it is. So it's an important events to do that. Okay, so we're going to pretend like I've gotten all these done, because we need to talk about stars now. And you guys get the idea. And I was lucky enough, all that red came from this nice Ace ad that I got. So, and look at, you got these nice corners. So when I'm doing the next one, I can look for those corners, just like we did for here, to make this nice and crisp as well. And I can also clean up that blue here, just like I did on the other. So you can see how you can start to smooth out those rough edges by using the edges of your paper. But you can still keep that texture and the mosaic-y look in the center fields. So stars. The flag has 50 stars, as we all know. And I'll go ahead and put my glue stick lid on. And they come in 9 rows. So you're going to do 9 rows of stars. Start with a row of 6, followed by a row of 5, followed by a row of 6, 5, 6, 5, 6, 5, until you do that 9 times. It's really hard to rip out a star. If you would really like to do that, I'm not going to stop you. Go for it. I wholeheartedly am behind you on that. I think, as I decided before, these birds would be fun, but I think they're a little too big, and I don't know that I have 50 of them that I can actually tear out. So we're going to scrap that idea for now. And I'm going to just rip out a basic circle-ish sort of shape. And I'm not going to worry about making it perfect. You see how I'm just kind of tearing it around? And again, I'm using my thumbs to guide. And I'm going to tear out 6 of those. And I found that it was easier to do the stars first and then glue them down, because that way you can change your spacing if you need to, because sometimes we don't get the spacing right the first time. So it's nice to be able to adjust if you need to. So I'm going to do a row of 6, and then I'm going to do, and you know, they can be a little bit different. They're stars. This is our artistic interpretation of the stars. And so here's 6 of them. So I got my first row down. So my second row is going to be 5. And see, I can actually kind of play with their spacing a little bit, make sure they're kind of evenly spaced. Kind of going in through there. Yeah, make sure it's an even spacing. Okay, so now my row of 5. And you'll notice that the rows of 5 actually go center. So see, there's a space between each of the 6 here. You want to line that up right in the center of those spaces. So that's where the row of 5 go. And again, you can be as precise. You can try and do stars if you want to, or you can just do these little kind of circle-esque shapes, because we all know what they mean. Okay, I didn't glue that guy down, so he's going to move. Okay, and that. And going there. So I'm going to, and so on and so forth, going row of 5, row of 6, row of 5, row of 6, row of 5. And you'll start with a row of 6, you'll end with a row of 6. And with the stripes, you're going to start with a row of red and you're going to end with a row of red. And that will be your flag if you keep carrying on like that. And I think you guys should have a lot of fun creating this flag. I hope you enjoy this project, and hopefully it's going to be fun and relaxing thing for you to do with your whole family. And again, you can do this in stages if you need to, or do it all at once. So happy ripping, Once again, I'm Stacy Green. I'm a teaching artist with Arts for Learning. And if you want to learn more about Arts for Learning, you can go to www.artsforlearning.sd.org. And thank you so much for giving me some of your time. Stay safe, everyone.